Okay, here's the beginning install. I didn't videotape the original removal of the blade holder, but as you can see, I used a grinder and I ground down the rivets, and then I used a sharp tool like a chisel to pry the blade holder off. Here you can see there are the protruding parts of the rivets that remain, so we have to pop those out. Now, in order to do this, you take something like an ice punch or sharp tool, and you put it in the middle of the splayed part of the rivet from the inside the boot. Use a couple pieces of wood to make a gap, and then use a hammer and tap it out. If they stay stuck, you then use a pair of pliers to finish the job by pulling them out. Now, the brass rivets are harder to get out, and you can't tap from the inside, so you're going to have to tap from the outside. So I used a 2x4 piece of wood to prop the boot up, and then from the bottom, you try and tap out the rivet enough so that you can grip it with the pair of pliers and easily pull it out. So for the remainder of the rivets, it's just repeat and rinse. I used a little workmate bench to hold the boot, and I just popped out the rivets. So here's the part where you install the number 6 half-inch stainless steel bolts with a T-nut, number 6 T-nut, and a lock washer. Note that at some point you have to cut the tines off of the T-nut so that they don't stand off too high in the bottom of the boot. Okay, so I'm using a piece of tape wrapped around my other finger so that I can hold the T-nut inside the boot, and using sort of in this case, I used a hex key wrench that was long enough that could help me find the T-nut on the inside, and I used that to guide the T-nut down to the bottom of the hole, and then I could replace the hex key wrench with the actual half-inch bolt and then screw it in. And now often, this is a step I failed to videotape, but you'll have to drill new holes into the Marsblade holder, and you should use a 5/32 drill bit, and then use the next bit up to drill into the actual boot so it's a little bit wider inside the boot so that the T-nut can fit in. So once you've got an adequate number of screws or bolts installed, it's time to add the bearings. Now note that you should follow the advanced setup, which means the front wheel is a 72 millimeter wheel, and the 3 back wheels are 76 millimeter wheels, and line them up so that the Marsblade logo is sticking on the outside of the skate for aesthetic reasons. Okay, so adding the wheels is very easy. You just take one wheel bearing, pop it into one half of the wheel, flip it over, take the bearing separator, install it onto the other side or inside the middle, and then add the another bearing onto the other side of the wheel. When you go to actually mount the wheel onto the holder, you'll note that there's one side of the hardware that has a square head and the other side has a hex head. So make sure you line up the square head on the square head side and use the included tool to tighten down the wheel. Okay, and just repeat the same whole process with the remaining wheels, and you should have no more difficulties. This is really the easiest part. The only thing is to remember to keep all the outside labels oriented the same way for aesthetic reasons. So that completes the install procedure of installing Marsblades onto a hockey boot when you don't keep the holder. I've also done an install where I did keep the holder, and it was much harder to take the rivets off, but it is still possible. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. Thanks for watching.